Hey, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy.
I'm Tim.
And today we're going to be doing a Kickstarter preview of Apotheca. In Apotheca, it plays 2 to 4 people in roughly 30 minutes. So first thing that we need to say about this is obviously because this is a Kickstarter, we've just been sent a prototype. So these pieces could change and probably will change as production goes through. So Tim, do you want to talk about the rules and how hard or easy it is to get into Apotheca?
This was actually a really easy game to learn. They did a good job of laying out the rules here. Because we actually learned it over lunch.
Yep.
So it was actually really easy. This is not the instruction book that you'll be getting. I'm sure that the quality of the instruction book will be different. But the way they laid it out and they explained everything and gave you reference sheets, I love that. They did a great job on the instructions. So real easy to learn.
Yeah. The components, even though this is a prototype game, it's actually really good. The quality on the cards that they have, the artwork I think is incredible. The only critique that I would have at this point is some of the card backs are a little hard to see on the board. And I think they might be addressing that because we missed that a couple times on when we were playing through. We didn't realize that there were cards on there.
Blends right into the background.
Yeah. But as far as quality that he has right here, I think that this is a ready to print game. I think that as long as this game is funded, I think you'll be very pleased with what you get because there's incredible artwork on each one of these apothecary cards, really cool stuff. Each one of these is unique and different, and so it's really cool. So let's give you a basic idea of how to play the game, and you can decide if this is something that you want to back. So in essence, this is a matching game. Now, before that turns you off, there is some theme behind it. So basically, you are trying to make these potions, and the way that you do that is by lining up 3 of the same color in a row. There's also some other variants that you can do to that if you make like a T shape or a cross shape or an L shape. But the basic idea is you want to get 3 of these to line up. So the only way that you can move cards is by using the powers of these apothecaries. And so the only way to get these is by revealing gems. So on your turn, you can do 2 of 4 things. So one thing that you can do is you can flip over a card. When you flip over a card, you're going to get a corresponding gem that's the same color as that one. That's one thing that you can do. Second thing that you can do is restock. So once there's less than 3 cards on the table that haven't been flipped over, you can restock up to 3. So at any time you can look at a card, decide where you want it to go on the board, and place it down with the arrow facing you. And that just helps you remember which cards you put out, because at any time you can look and see what's on the board. The third thing that you can do is use a power. So if you have an apothecary, you get to use a special power that they have. And it's the only way to move cards around on the board. So you say, I've got the chained charge, and so I'm able to move a card here and do that. The movements are really simple. The card explains the movements really well. There's nothing really that complicated. There are some chess-like moves in the game where you might move over here, or you can move a card from the corner to the center, or the center to the outside, different things like that. So each character is going to have a different ability. And so the last thing that you're able to do is you get to hire an apothecary. So if you have 2 of the same color gem, you can hire an apothecary that's out on the board. So if I have 2 red, I can get this guy right here. Or if I have 1 of each color, then I can buy the first face down card that's on the deck. And so I just blindly draw that card and then I add it to my stack. So then once I manage to get 3 in a row, I would take those 3 cards and now I have to place them on my apothecary, and now I can no longer use that guy's ability. If I ever got 3 in a row and I didn't have an apothecary, I would just discard those cards. So I would, in essence, lose that. The first person to get to 3 cards or 3 sets wins the game. So you have to think a couple steps ahead where you say, okay, I've got my apothecary now. Now I'm going to have to spend turns flipping over cards so I can get gems so I can buy a new one, then use his power to move on and play the game. Yeah. Plays pretty quick. I would say 30 minutes is probably really true. Yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on the game?
I really like the variety that the apothecaries gave you, especially if you're pulling from the deck here, because you will try to plan and play off the other person. You know which apothecaries they have, but if the first thing they do is pull an apothecary, either from there or from the deck, then it messes up all your plans because they can move stuff all over the board. And the whole, like, where you're like, oh, I really need this revealed, but if I reveal this, he's going to match 3. And you're like, well, I won't do that. And then you're like, I'll reveal this one over here instead. And then, of course, if it's one of his, you don't even know what it is. So there's a lot of guessing going on, a lot of strategy and tactics on like how you're going to play against your opponent. And with the variety that comes with the apothecaries, it's not going to be a set group of tactics that you can
Every
always
time.
use, like
Yeah.
chess or something like that. It's all going to be different because of these. So
Yeah, and so you know what's available out there. So that's even something like, man, I really want that card. Like this guy right here, Wandering Waltz. He can go anywhere around. So that one card could totally change your strategy because you're thinking, well, if I get that, then I'll place my card here and I can go anywhere. So it really is cool the depth that the cards add to the game.
Yeah.
So I love how when you're playing the game, you're trying to think through, you know, where do I want to put the card because he's gonna have a chance before I get back to it for me to do something with it. So you know, that's really cool how that kind of gives it some depth. So.
yeah.
Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of what Apotheca is going to be like. So check it out on Kickstarter and see if this game is something you want to back.